Okay, today we're talking about graphing systems. This is actually chapter 6.5 if we really want to be specific. We are going to need our skill of graphing lines to be successful. We're going to work on testing the origin as a solution, and in the end we're going to graph and shade lines. First though, we need to briefly review the skill of graphing. I looked at the quizzes from last week and a lot of us were not where we need to be in terms of graphing these lines, so I hope that you pay attention to this. I don't know if you just didn't want to do it or if you kind of slipped, if it slipped your mind or not, but just remember there's two types of lines. There's slope-intercept form and there's standard form. This is slope-intercept form. Remember again, when y is by itself, that the first number we look at is this number, and that number tells us how far to go up or down. This -3 is your y-intercept. It's telling us to go down 3. And then this number is always your slope, your rise over run. 4 as a fraction is 4 over 1, so it tells us to go 1, 2, 3, 4 up, 1 over, and then use a straight edge, which I'm just using an ID, but use a straight edge to connect those 2 points. That is how you graph a slope-intercept line. Whenever the y is not by itself, we are looking at standard form, and remember in standard form it's very, very, very easy. All you have to do is just kind of take this number and set it equal to that, so 2x equals 10. Dividing by 2 tells me that x equals 5. Remember that x goes left and right. Once you remember that, mark your number. X goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over. And then you take this number and set it equal to 10, so -5y equals 10. Switch your signs over, and then divide by 5. And you get y equals -2. Again, this is your y-axis, and -2, remember, is down 2. Again, you take your straight edge and you connect those two lines all the way across the region. It's very important that you do it all the way across the region, because on the test you're going to have 2 lines and you're going to have to determine what region is your actual answer. But that is a quick review on graphing. Again, if you still don't remember how to graph, please pause this video, come over and talk to me so I can try to give you some examples to help you. I don't know if I can teach you right now how to graph, because we actually been doing that the last few days, but if you just need a little bit more of an explanation as to which one's which and what to do, I can try to go there. But again, don't think I'm going to teach it to you right now, but like I said, just come on back if you need that. The thing that we need to be able to do though after we graph our line is we have to be able to test 0, 0. That is the new part of what we're talking about. So when we graph inequalities with greater than, less than, you also have greater than or equal to because of the line, less than or equal to. We have to identify which side of the line is the good side, and we call that the good side because it's really not any good or bad side, but we are trying to identify the side that is the best. Part of that process is testing 0, 0. So to help you visualize what's going on, imagine that there are a lot of people standing on the graphs grid. You see I have all these stick people standing there. These people are separated by the line. And it's almost like every line you graph, just like the line that we graphed here, separated into 2 sides. There was a side over here, there was a side over here, there was an upper side and a lower side. But every line you graph in these inequalities separates those two sides, or separates the overall list of everything into 2 sides. And again, look at this illustration here. Imagine that we can ask anyone in this grid a simple question, and this person is either honest or dishonest. They cannot be both, so it's not like somebody's going to be honest at one point in this grid and dishonest at some other point. If they tell you one lie, then they're going to be dishonest all the way through. If they tell you the truth, then they are honest all the way through. All right. So again, just kind of staying with me here. If everyone on the same side is the same type of person, can we identify the good side by that person's answer? So look at this figure real fast, and let's imagine we ask this person a question. For example, we say, what day is it? And I believe today is Monday for us. But if we say to this person, what is today? And he says Saturday, and you honestly say, no, tell me again what day it is, and they say Saturday, this person is a dishonest person. And because that's a dishonest person, and everybody over here is on the same side, that means all of these people on this side are dishonest. Now, if this line separates all the honest from dishonest people, then that means if I can tell that these people are dishonest, then that means these people must all be honest. But by asking one question, if I find out this person is a dishonest person, then that means that everybody over here is dishonest, so I want to go over here for all of the honest people. And just so you understand the definition of the good side is where all the honest people are, the people that tell the truth. So if we were to pick a side, if that person told us a lie, then we know that the good side is over here. If we were to come over here and ask this person a question and they told us the truth, again, if this person told us the truth, that means that he's an honest person or she's an honest person, which means that everyone on this side is honest. We would stay over here. It also means that if this is the honest side, that this is the dishonest side. There can only be one good side, one honest side, one true side, and there can only be one false or bad side. And that's what you're trying to identify when you test 0, 0. Okay? Again, the person we are going to test is the person standing right here, because it's the easiest person to test. 0, 0, as we found out, has a bunch of good properties. So we're going to ask that person a question, and if they tell us the truth, that means that we're on the good side and we're going to stay there. If they tell us a lie, that means that everybody over here is dishonest, which means we'll jump over the line and we'll go to that side. And that's how shading actually works. So again, let's just imagine we ask 0, 0 a question, and again, this is what we're going to do. We're going to ask this person a question and they tell us a true answer. If they tell us a true answer, it means that we want to stay on that side, and that's how we're going to shade. Again, if the person we ask tells us the truth, or it is a true person or an honest person, we're going to stay over there because we are looking for the honest side. If we ask this person, again, 0, 0 question, and they tell us a lie or they're false, that means that this is not the side, so we're going to jump over the line and we're going to go over here. That is the act of testing 0, 0. So again, testing 0, 0 is like asking the person standing at the origin a question. If 0, 0 is true, then that person is honest, and we will again stay there. If 0, 0 is false, then that person is dishonest, and we will leave and we'll go to the other side. And that's all it comes down to. So let's go over a couple basic rules just to make sure you understand how to identify the good side. When you go to test 0, 0, any number with a negative on it is smaller than any number without a negative on it. So when you see something about 0 compared to a negative number, this has a negative on it, which means that this has to be smaller because this doesn't have a negative on it. 0, remember, is a neutral number. So 0 is bigger than negatives. Alright, that's the first thing. The second thing is when you plug in 0, it makes the whole term turn into 0. We did that when we were doing our substitution of the standard form. We knew that putting 0 in made the whole thing disappear. Well, what we're going to use for here is that plugging in 0 makes the whole thing 0, and that's what we're going to use there. So let's look at the next skill we're going to need, which is just testing 0, 0 for some values. So here's what we're going to do. Again, 0, 0 being nice, that means that this is going to be 0 greater than. Again, if I put a 0 here, this whole thing is going to be 0 minus 3. That's how easy it is. Everywhere there's a variable, I put 0 in for y, it turned into a 0, x turned into a 0. Leave the sign the same, that turns into negative 3. My question is 0 bigger than negative 3, or would the alligator actually be choosing 0 over negative 3? Remember, it picks the bigger number. Remember, I said that 0 is bigger than any negative. This is true. And that is what you have to do on that skill. You just have to be able to plug in 0, 0, see what happens in the end, and tell me if it's true or false. Again, this is going to be on your Math Excel, and that's what you're going to be working on. 4x minus 6y less than or equal to 24. This will turn into a 0. That will turn into a 0. The number stays the same. This, of course, is 0 less than or equal to 24. Is 0 smaller than 24? Is the alligator going to eat 0 over or 24 over 0? That is also true, because 24 is bigger than 0, so that is going the correct way. Looking at the third one, again, plugging in 0, 0. This gets a 0 or turns into a 0. This turns into a 0 plus 2. Looking at this, we now have 0 greater than or equal to 2. Is 0 bigger than 2? No, it's not. We know better than that. Again, for those who don't understand, remember that the alligator, the mouth is going to eat the bigger number, and no animal is going to eat a 0 over a 2 because they want the bigger amount of food, so they're going to obviously choose a 2. This is a false statement. On the last one, x turns into a 0. This turns into a 0 because we know it turns the whole thing into 0. We learned that probably about a few months ago. This now turns into 0 is less than 10. Is the alligator going to eat 10 over 0? Yes, it is. That is also a true statement. How does that link up with what we are going to be doing in terms of graphing? Let's just go ahead and put that together now. And this is, again, where you're going to be going after you do your Math Excel. And you turn in your computers. There's a second sheet that's going to have some graphs for you to do. But again, this is what the graphs are going to be asking you to do. First off, recognize that this is slope-intercept form. Ignore that sign and treat it like an equal sign for now, but y is equal to 1/2 x minus 3. Remember, this is the first number we look at. This is telling me to go down 3. This is my slope. It's telling me to go up 1 over 2. And then I draw my line connecting those two dots all the way across the region, because remember, I am separating everything that is true from everything that is false. My line there tells me that one of these two sides is all the way true, one of these sides is all the way false. I don't know which one yet. And the only way I find out which one is which is I ask this person a question. Again, 0, 0 is right there. So I'm going to ask that person a question by plugging 0 in for this, 0 in for x, which of course makes 0 minus 3. Again, putting 0 in for these two pieces makes them both 0. So y turned into 0, the sign stayed the same, this whole thing turned into 0 minus 3. Is 0 bigger than negative 3? The answer to that is yes, that is true. Remember that 0 is bigger than any negative, and because that person told me the truth, it means that this is the good side, that person is, or that side is the dishonest side. So we are going to shade towards that person because they told me the truth. If 0, 0 were to tell me was false, then we would jump over the line and shade the other side. That is how easy it is to add to what we already know how to do. You just have to slow down and make sure you can take your time and get what you need out of the question there. Again, standard form. This is the one where I simply take 2x, set it equal to 6. Again, ignore that and treat it like an equal sign for right now. 2x equals 6. Dividing by 2, that means that x would equal 3. So we go to where x is 3. We put our dot. You don't need to tell me that you divide by 2. If you know 2 times 3 is 6, you can just say it's 3. Same thing, we take our negative 3y equals 6. This has to be negative 2 because we'd be dividing by negative 3. And again, negative 2 means we are going down 2. We then connect these 2 points with a line. Remember that this line separates everything that is good or true from everything that is not good or false. And the way we find out is by asking this person a question. And so I always circle that so I know who I'm asking. This turns into a 0. This turns into a 0. Sign stays the same with 6. Is 0 bigger than 6? No, it is not. That is false. And because that person told me something that is false, it means that everybody over here is dishonest. I'm going to jump over the line because obviously everybody over here tells the truth. That is what your line does. Your line in inequality separates good from bad, true from false, and we are looking for the true side. So if you ask this person something and they say it's false, then the true side is over here. If you ask this person a question and it's true, then you stay over there because that is the true side and that would be the false side. Third equation, again, standard form. Set this equal to 10. 5x equals 10, which obviously means that x is equal to 2, so go over 2, put your dot. Second one, negative 2y equals 10. If I divided by negative 2, I would get negative 5, which tells me to go 5 down. Don't forget to mark your distances there. And again, use your straight edge, which could be an ID like I'm using, to connect those two things all the way across the region. We are now again going to ask 0, 0 a question. And the way we ask that question is by putting 0 here, 0 here, and figuring this out. Is 10 going to be eaten over the 0? That is a true statement. And so that means that this is where we want to be, and so we stay on that side. Do you understand now why your graphing has to be automatic? Because if you're still trying to fight with how to graph in a major way, then you're going to have a really tough time doing this. Last question, this is slope-intercept form because it's the y, which means I look at this number first, which tells me to go up 1. This tells me to go up 2 over 1. I then draw my line. And again, now I have good separated from bad. I ask this person a question, and you have to use a ruler because sometimes your lines going crooked can put you on the wrong side. But I ask 0, 0 a question by turning my variable terms into zeros. Is 0 bigger than or equal to 1? Would the alligator choose 0 over 1? Nope, that is false. And so that means that this is not the good side. So this is the good side. and that is what we're doing with that. Alright, so do me a favor now, go to your Math Excel, get 100% on the assignment for the day. Please understand it's going to ask you for a few graphs. It's also going to ask you to test 0, 0. Work this out by yourself. Please don't make me stop you from talking to someone. You know what I'm asking you to do. You understand that I need you to work alone. It's not that you have to work all the way alone. I just don't want you asking for help from another student, and that is because when students help students, they typically give the student the answer. The teachers typically try to make you think through it. They can ask questions that make you figure out what's going on, and I don't want you cheating your way through this. Not so much that you're cheating your way through it, but if you do that, you're not going to get as good as you're supposed to be, and you're going to fail the quiz this week, and I don't want you to do that. You are allowed to ask me or Mrs. Hines for assistance, but again, this is a short assessment. When you finish, put your computer away, and then come up and get the worksheet for the day so you can practice graphing and shading your inequalities. Other than that, good luck, and let's get going.